everyone, it's Tim with Wins and Dragons. Today we're going to be talking about some advanced scoring rules in Mahjong. Before we get into this video, make sure you check out our Scoring 101 video to get a basic understanding of how scoring works. So the first thing you need to know is that there are two ways to get a doubled scoring hand in Mahjong. First things first, when you initially roll the dice to determine where to start the game, if the dice roll has two of the same number, then any score for that hand will be doubled. Another way is that if you finish a hand and the last tile is drawn, but no one has won the game, then that means the next game will be a doubled hand. Now we're going to talk about a few ways to get some bonus multipliers for your score. So in this example, we're going to be looking at a hand where I'm trying to make all sets from one suit and dragons. So this hand on its own will be worth $50 if I complete it. Now, there are a few things you need to keep in mind. So the first way to earn a multiplier is if you draw the winning tile on your own. So let's say it's my turn and I get the white dragon I need to finish my hand. Then I would get $50 from all three players. So as you can see here, they each have $50. Then they would each give me one of them, making my hand worth $150. However, if that white dragon tile had been played from another player and they discarded it, then I would take it from that player, making my hand worth $50, which I would get just from the player who discarded the tile. Now the next way to multiply your score is what is known as a draw from the back of the wall. So we're going to be looking at the same hand in this scenario where I need a red or white dragon to win the game. Now let's say it's my turn and I draw a tile. If I get a flower tile, that means I need to replace it with a tile from the back of the wall. And let's say that tile is the winning tile I need. Then this would count as a self-drawn win as well as a draw from the back of the wall, meaning that I would get $50 times 2 from every player, so they would each have to give me $100. Now there's another way to draw from the back of the wall, and that is if you do what is known as a Kong. So let's say it's my turn and I have this hand. It's not a winning hand on its own. Sorry, put this back. It's not a winning hand on its own, but let's say I self-Kong the 4 1 dots. Then I would have to replace one from the back of the wall. In this case, I would draw the winning tile from that, which would also give me a times 2 multiplier, meaning I again get $100 from every player. Alright, so now we're going to look at a very niche scenario known as a stolen Kong. So I've changed the hand a little bit just so the example makes sense. So what happens in this case is I need a 1 or a 4 dot to complete my final set and make a winning hand. Now let's say someone has 3 4 dots showing because they ponged the tile from someone else earlier. If it gets to their turn, and let's say they draw a tile, and then they choose to Kong another 4 of dots, I can actually steal that Kong and take it to create my winning hand. And the player that tried to attempt the Kong would have to pay for all 3 players at the table. Now there is a small nuance to this rule, where if they were to have done this as a self-Kong and played them directly as 4 tiles, I can't steal from a self-Kong. It can only be a Kong that was added to an existing Kong. Alright, so let's look at a niche scenario again called last tile fishing. In this scenario, you would have 4 revealed sets because you had taken them from other players. So in this case, I have 4 sets of 3. And that leaves you with 1 final tile that you are fishing for. So that means I just need any red dragon tile to win the game. If I were able to get this, let's say on my turn, I draw the winning red dragon tile, then whatever I would win would be multiplied by 2. If I were to get this last tile from someone else, the same scenario would happen, but I would just get the money from that one player doubled. So the next scenario is known as a clean win. Now this is very similar to last tile fishing, but just the exact opposite. In this case, you would have no revealed sets. Let's say this entire hand was hidden, and I were to get the last tile on my own or from someone else, then I would have won the game with only having no revealed sets and only showing my hand at the end of the game. Now this would also give you a times 2 multiplier to your score. Alright, so one other way to get a multiplier to your score is if you win off the final tile of the Mahjong wall. So in this scenario, all of these tiles have been discarded and there's one last tile in the wall. So again, I need a white or red dragon to win my hand. Let's say I'm the last player to draw from the wall. If I were to draw the winning tile, then I would get a times 2 multiplier to my entire hand. Now there is one nuance to this rule. If the last tile is here and the player that's supposed to draw it doesn't want the tile, they can choose to not take the tile because it's disadvantageous to them to take the tile and then have to risk discarding another tile. So they are actually allowed to just leave it there and declare the game a draw. All right, now here I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. This is a very, very rare hand, a hand so rare that my parents have never seen it in their decades of playing the game of Mahjong. It is known as a heavenly hand, and this can only be accomplished by the first player to go in the turn sequence. This is because that player starts with 14 tiles. So let's say the game starts and I were to reveal my hand. I'm just gonna show you guys. If the hand that I reveal is a winning hand on its own, then this is known as a heavenly hand. Now, we don't even have a guideline for how many points this would award you because this is such a rare scenario, but it is one way to win a Mahjong game. So another hand that is quite similar to the heavenly hand is known as the earthly hand. This can only be accomplished by anyone but the first player. So let's say I'm the second player in the turn sequence and I look at my hand to start the game and I realize all I need to win is one red dragon tile. If the first discard from the first player is the tile I need to win, I can immediately take it and declare an earthly hand, which is also extremely rare, and we also have no exact score multiplier to assign to it, but you can decide that on your own. Another very special scenario is where one player gets all 8 of the flower tiles. I would say this is roughly as rare as a heavenly hand, so don't expect to see this very often. In this scenario, let's say I have 7 flowers and I were to draw the final tile from the wall when it's my turn. I would have achieved 8 flowers and I would automatically win the hand, no matter how messy my actual tile hand is. You can decide how many points this is worth on your own time because it's not very likely to happen.